First of all, I just want to welcome everyone here. I think this is going to be a great conversation to have kicking off 2025. I think as e-commerce has evolved over these years, I think people are slowly and sellers are slowly starting to adapt more of a profit-centric focus, rather than relying on revenue. And driving revenue is how do we drive revenue, but then how do we keep as much money as we're earning as possible? So we got some really great speakers here today, and we're all going to touch on a subject that is going to help improve your profit for 2023. So I know my name says Pavel there, but I'm actually Mark Botha. I'm the founder of SellerView, and what SellerView does is help optimize your supply chain to get an accurate landed unit cost on your products so that you can make the best possible decisions on how to grow and scale your business. Um, so that's me. I don't, Fabricio, you want to introduce yourself, and then we can just go down the line here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here, Mark and team. Um, so Fleabur is an inventory planning platform. So basically, what we do is collect sales and inventory data, including POs, TOs, and etc., and project your future inventory so that you can make the best inventory decisions. So we've been around since 2019. We cater to modern commerce brands that mostly sell online, but we also have wholesale and a bunch of different things. I'm going to talk more about that on my presentation.
Okay, awesome. Um, let's
Hey guys,
okay, perfect.
yeah, hey guys. My name is Klim. I work with Axo Club as a head of business development. So we do two major things. First one, and foremost, we're an FBA aggregator. We acquire brands on Amazon. And the second one, recently last year, we started a service where we expand successful Amazon US sellers into Europe. And we do it completely free for you. We're like a distributor for your brand in Europe. And I'm going to tell more about that when I'm going to speak. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Who's next here?
Hey guys, my name is Omri. I'm the COO of Cubic. We're a freight forwarding platform helping sellers streamline their supply chain and logistics operations all around the globe. And I'll be talking today about logistics trends and future-proofing your logistics for 2025.
Awesome.
Hey everybody, I'm Michelle Barnum-Smith. I am a TikTok shop expert and founder of TT Shop Sellers. And I'm going to be talking today about 15-second conversions on TikTok Shop, how you can get them, how you can improve your performance on TikTok, and kind of some quick tips there.
Okay, awesome. Great. So I think I'm going first here, so I will just share my screen. All right. Okay, so like I said, SellerView, our goal is to boost your seller margins by optimizing the supply chain and by recovering 2 to 3% of your revenue through precise profit recovery strategies and cost per unit calculations. But today, we really want to discuss the optimal way and the most effective way to improve your profitability is really understanding your biggest expenses of the profit pie. So how we want to do that is, like my title is today, 10 proven strategies to cut costs and boost profit margins. So number one, I wouldn't say it's the most overlooked way is to negotiate with suppliers. Whether we're requesting bulk discounts or by committing to larger orders or building relationships or comparing quotes. Oftentimes, we stick with a supplier that we've been with for years, and we don't really think about, other options out there. I'll give you an example of, last year I had a client. I said, when last did you negotiate with your supplier? He said, never. I said, well, why don't you just go ahead and say this? So anyway, he went, asked the supplier, gave him the little verbiage I told him, and ended up getting a 50% discount on his factory cost, which was pretty big. So if you don't ask, you don't get, right? So next is, analyzing your supply chain. Conducting cost breakdown of your factory and shipping and customs and duties. This is something that SellerView does really, really well, so that you have a bird's eye view on exactly what it takes and what it costs to get your product from the supplier to your warehouse floor. The other thing is optimizing packaging, reducing the weight and reducing that dimensional cost of your product. That's another big saver, especially if you're selling on Amazon, especially as those fees keep on rising, is how do you get your package smaller and smaller so that you can keep inside those weight limits. The other one is alternating carriers and shipping methods. Um, and lowering those expenses. So, we have a great Cubic freight forwarder. They're going to touch on that as well, is getting those quotes so that you can maximize your profitability. The other big one is tariffs and codes. So I know this one is probably the biggest topic of 2025 is what's going to happen with tariffs, what's going to happen with the increase and possible increase. So the first thing that I would say is research and confirm that you have the correct HS codes to begin with, so that you aren't overpaying on duties. Consult a customs broker, ensuring that you have compliance and you're up to date with the regulations, and stay updated on any possible tariff changes that might occur, so that before you order your product, you're well aware of the possible implications that might arise during the transit. The other one is implementing just-in-time inventory. I know Fabricio is going to mention as an amazing tool that handles the demand forecasting. And the reason why I would say this is the most important aspect in profitability is not over ordering. When you over order, I know a couple of years ago it felt okay to go, you know what, I need a fuller container. I'm going to order a little bit more of this product. I'm going to order a little bit more of this product. I'm going to put it on Amazon. It'll be fine. But now with the fees, it doesn't make sense to do that. So it makes more sense to order what you need, understand what your lead times are, and only order or what's on demand. So setting up automatic triggers, which I know Fleber has control of as well. So auditing your e-commerce account. So another big one is making sure you're maximizing all the money that's due back to you. So, if you aren't using a third-party tool that tracks and recover reimbursements, make sure that you're on top of this yourself. But I would definitely recommend, getting a third-party tool or a third-party reimbursement company to handle this. And the other big one is keeping track of your records. Keeping track of your freights, keeping track of your received inventory, keeping track of the proof of deliveries, having all this ready available so that you can make those claims. The next one, touching this, is understanding your lead time on production and understanding your lead time on shipment time. So again, this kind of comes back with, understanding and working with your suppliers, improving production without sacrificing quality. So using freight forwarders to optimize your shipping schedules, reduce the delays, and of course, creating contingency plans to address any potential production or shipping disruptions. Now, knowing these two numbers, your production time from, to build the product and your ship time is really going to help you decrease your cash flow conversion cycle. So the less time your product is wrapped up, is the more cash you're going to have. So the quicker you can get your product, the quicker you can sell your product, the quicker you can get the cash back, and that cycle continues. But if you don't know your lead time, you don't know how long it takes to get your product, what ends up happening is you start ordering a little bit more than you should, and you start incurring a little bit more fees, like I had mentioned before. So really understand your lead and production time on your products. And again, this is something that SellerView does really well in capturing this data. The next is reviewing platform fees. So this, I would say, mainly with Amazon is, fees are going up. 2025, new round of changes happening in March in terms of reimbursements as well, if you weren't aware of that. But really understanding your storage and your referral fees on the productivity of your product. Then understanding, especially, Christmas is over, having a look at what's in inventory and making a decision that going, if I'm not going to sell out of this stuff in the next X amount of time, does it make sense to remove it? And where do I remove it? Because at the end of the day, Amazon is going to take all their fees, and you might not be left with much of a margin. So monitoring these changes and structures, and adjusting price if you can, will help improve that profitability. The next is another one that's overlooked is, enhancing your product listing. This is a big one where we place the idea of revenue over profit, where let's just go ahead and increase our ad spend. But if we're increasing our ad spend and our listings aren't converting, then we're losing money. And again, that's hurting your bottom line. So that's hurting your profitability. So, conducting the research on those listings, investing in professional photography or infographics, testing headlines and descriptions to improve those conversion rates is very important to profitability. The next one is investing in repricing tools or tools that have AI-driven focus that can dynamically adapt to demand or competitive activity. The only caveat with this one is I would really recommend that you really know your costs and your cost structure before diving into a repricing tool. Because oftentimes, if your costs are wrong, it's really going to affect your profitability on the end. So, an example, say, for example, is you order 2,000 units and, you're running low and you send 500 units by air, and that might cost you $3 a unit. The other 1,500, that goes by sea, and that might cost you, say, $2 a unit, right? So the overall, weighted average of this order is, I think it's 225, right? But if you're on tracking the one cost and you have $3 in there and then another cost at 225, it becomes a bit of a nightmare to understand how much money you're actually making on repricing. So bottom line, repricing tools are absolutely amazing for profitability, but the only thing is understand your costs. And the last one is, SKU by SKU performance. What I mean by this is, like in the beginning, when I started this little presentation, is understanding the profit pie, what it takes to sell each product, right? So out of the profit pie, you got fees to fulfill, you got product costs, you got ad spend, you got random business expenses, and then you got your profit. So what we want to do is understand what your contribution margin one is, which is your direct cost of the product. So what your landed cost from supplier to warehouse is, and understanding how much money you can afford to spend to maintain that profitability. So, when you understand this metric, you can then prioritize adjusting pricing or discontinue unprofitable products. But you would only know this if you're tracking those costs. So we have a 21-day trial for Cellerview. So the thing I would recommend is go ahead, signing up for a free trial, checking it out. We have a special onboarding call, which I would recommend taking advantage of, where we'll walk you through the app and show you exactly all the profit recovery strategies that you can utilize to make 2025 the best year ever. So that's it for me. I'm going to hand it over to Fabricio. Okay.
Thanks, Mark. Great presentation. First, I think the most important part of it is that it's clear that money is not made at the sale of the product, is made at the purchase of the product. So this is something that I always talk about, and a lot of people don't grasp. When you are purchasing the product, that's when you're making the margin for when you sell. If you do anything wrong in that, like the first 7 items that you described were all related to inventory. Only the number 8 was not. But anyways, can you see my screen here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Right. So I'm here to talk about the inventory success in 2025. I see that over and over. We've been operating with Fleabur since 2019. And before that, I used to run brands, and I've been seeing over and over the same problem, which is neglecting inventory, especially towards the end of the year, and thinking that after you made the purchase or the transfer of the last batch for peak season, then there's not much else you can do. And I want to show that this is not actually the case. So we're an inventory planning tool for modern commerce or multi-channel. I don't want to go through all the details here. You can go to Fleaver.com. I don't want to spend your time with talking about Fleaver. You can go to G2 also and check what people talk about us. So let me focus on what I'm here to talk about. 2010s, before COVID, inventory was just reactive. So it was reactive to sales decisions. What you had was just people defining what would be sold, and then inventory team siloed, usually in the back of the office. No one even knew their names, and they would make sure that the company had inventory to sell. And those two areas were completely disconnected: sales and inventory. And 2020s, after COVID, we understood that there's a bunch of things that involve inventory, all the supply chain disruptions and everything else. And inventory became central to sales decisions. And this is, I think, the biggest change in retail, in modern retail compared to the old retail, is that more and more inventory is becoming the center of sales and advertising decisions, pricing and advertising decisions that you have, financial decisions, and a bunch of other decisions. So now it's not about having in stock what you need to sell anymore. It's also selling what is possible to have in stock. And this makes it, you have two levers, actually. One lever is the inventory lever. So let me buy or transfer inventory so that I can sell what I want to sell. But when that is not possible, since inventory is the only physical thing in this new world of retail, you have to work with the sales lever. And this is what I want to talk about today. So think about this. You have stockouts and you have overstocks, and you have where your product is in that front. Of course, you want to have enough inventory, but that's not always possible. So sell what is possible to have in stock means that you have to make your sales decisions, pricing and advertising decisions, based on your future inventory availability. So if you're going towards running out of stock, you have to reduce your sales pace, because if you don't reduce, you're going to sell the same units you would sell, but with a lower margin. If you're on Amazon, for example, you're going to suffer because you're out of stock. Ranking positions drop. And the same happens if you're overstocked. So if you're going towards being overstocked in a product, you have to adjust sales. So increase your sales pace so that you'll sell more. Once more, I'm going to show a spreadsheet about that. But before going to the spreadsheet, I wanted to show a real case. This is a real customer of ours. They joined us in the beginning of 2023. And you see here that in 2022, they sold very little. And the reason is because they were out of stock during peak season of the main products that they had, the best sellers. So they lost a lot of profit in this process, almost half of what they should have sold at the time. And what did they do in 2023? They just piled up in inventory, as everybody did, right? So just, order a lot more than you need. And what happened was they started becoming overstocked. They had to do a lot of promotions, and it hurt margins. You see that the margin went down, the percentage profit margin. And then in 2024, already with Fleaver and already with the right mindset, they did what Mark said. They ordered the just right inventory, knowing that inventory, you're trying to avoid being stocked out, but you have to also try to avoid being overstocked. All the companies that die in retail, they die rich in inventory or in cash, 100%. They store closure, and it's always the case. So you cannot be overstocked. So they purchased the just right inventory and understood that from that moment on, it would be the sales lever would be the one that they would adjust during peak season. So the products that started selling more than they thought they would sell, they would increase price a little bit, reduce a little bit advertising, that increases margin, and that is all controlled, knowing what are the boundaries that they have in these two sides of the lever, the increase and decrease of sales space. And the result is here. They sold a lot less units than in 2023, but look at the total profit is much higher than 2023, and the profit margin is 1.4% higher than 2023. So this is a great example of how using the sales lever is important. Let me go here. I always like to show something practical. So it's a lot of things here. So let me try to be brief and not too complex here in the explanation. But this is a real example. So lead times, safety stock. So if you have the lead time and safety stock, Also, Mark was talking about that. It's really important for you to understand what are those boundaries that you have so that you know when to order. Then you have the sales velocity of the product. You have the inventory of the product on hand, on order, and total inventory. And this is extremely simplified. Okay, Fleabr does this in steroids, because we not only do that in real time, but we also have a lot of intricacies when you use the same inventory for 2 channels and things like that. But I try to reproduce here in a simple way. And then you have the days of stock that you have of each one of the products. Now, if you think that you have 75 days of stock here for 21,102 products, and here you have the same 75 sum of lead time and safety stock. So meaning that if you order today, the ideal point for you to receive is 75 days from today. You'll see that you have the just right inventory. You're risking getting into the safety stock, but you're still good. But in the second product, you see that you have 75 days for the ideal receipt of the items of the next batch, and you have 90 days of stock. So that means that you have 15 days of extra buffer of this inventory. So if you think about these 15 days as inventory available to sell, that means that you can sell more, you can increase your sales without running the risk of going out of stock. So in this case, you have the real sales velocity is 212 units per day. But if you sell 254 units per day, there is no problem, because you still have time to purchase a new batch and get the new batch in stock before you run out of stock. So that means that you can accelerate your sales in 20.2%. And I'm going to talk about the cost later. And so having this type of visibility of what is your maximum sales velocity for each one of your products make you able to make decisions, pricing decisions and advertising decisions in a much more informed way. So I bet that all the brand teams, that if they knew how many units they could potentially sell without having problems in inventory, they would operate in a completely different way. And this is extremely simple, but for some reason, no one does it. And going a little further, if we think about the profit per product that you have, you can calculate how much more money you would make in the same 75 days. I'm sorry, in this case here, 75 days. How much more money you would make in the same 75 days if you sold 254 units instead of 212 units. So then if you calculate that, you'll see that you would make 78,566 more in profits if you did that. So what this means is that you can potentially spend more by reducing price or increasing advertising, spend up to $78,000 to get the same money you would get if you sold, in the rhythm that you are selling today. So in other words, if you spend less than $78,000, you're going to be at a profit by selling quicker. And if you have to spend more than $78,000, you're going to be at a loss by selling quicker. So all of this data here is really important for salespeople to make decisions about pricing and advertising. And I honestly don't see a lot of people using that. And that's why I'm very intrigued and also excited with tools like what we're building at Fleabr that can help you make this type of decision. So inventory is not only about controlling costs or the boring stuff. Inventory is about enabling profits, enabling sales and profits. Going back here, that's it. I just have a couple of links here. You're going to receive my presentation after the probably tomorrow, and you can schedule a consulting call directly with me or someone with the team, and a demo here. We have a 14-day free trial at Fleabr. And as we say here, let's start fleabing. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you. Really, really good one. We'll kill next?
Yeah, it's my turn, guys. Let me share my screen. Do you see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. So, guys, today we're going to talk about the growth and how you can grow your brand by any margin next year. So actually, when we're talking about Amazon growth, we're pretty limited in resources. We actually, if we look at that structurally, you have like four levers to push your growth forward. First one is actually doing new channels, like new geos, new marketplaces, whatever. Second one, launching new products. Also a very great channel. Like you need to do that in order to grow. These are two. Third one, you can hire expertise. Obviously, like by hire expert people in their niches, like PPC specialist, designer, you can grow your brand by a good margin. And the last one, also important one, is to get a new traffic. Like usually people are doing only Amazon PPC, but you can also lead traffic through social networks to Amazon listings. So actually, like these are four things that will help you grow. Today we'll concentrate on one of them. It's expanding to the new markets and to the new geos. So this solely can easily bring you 30% of growth to your brand, just purely based on numbers. Like Amazon US is roughly $400 billion a year, while Europe is 100 billion a year, like 25%, 25 to 30% depends on how you count the amount of sales in Europe. So we can easily assume like that your brand can make 20 to 30% in additional sales. And we'll take a look at some brands that are missing out like this opportunity. So we found that prior to webinar. That's one of the brands that are called Bronson Vitamins. You can see in Helium. They're doing pretty great. Like their vitamin D supplements #3 in their niche, doing almost $1 million in sales a year. But they're purely US brands. And that's truly like, I mean, like I get that. That's truly like hard to get into Europe because when we're talking supplements, there are a bunch of regulations on top of that. You have to do a bunch of due diligence to get into Europe. But let's assume like we see that they're making almost 1 million in US. That's how niche looks in United Kingdom. We see like Bronson is pretty price competitive. They're barely like maybe 20% higher the price than the current examples, current top four of the market. And we see that these top four combined doing $1 million a year. We can easily assume that Bronson, with the amount of brand equity that they have like 31,000 of reviews in US. And in US, like when it's purely US brand, they get reviews and ratings much faster than any European brand. You can see like top brands, top four brands in United Kingdom, only one of them have more reviews than Bronson. And that's also like one of the key factors. When you expand your brand, it's not similar to launching a new product because you don't have to waste so much resources because you already gathered that equity with reviews, with market proof, with your existing content. So you can just slightly change it, move it into a new market. And if you were doing great in US, it's like 70% chance you'll find your market in Europe. So you can see like, given the fact that Bronson is already a top tier brand in US, having a bunch of reviews, like we can easily assume that they can sustain like top 5. They can be top 5, top 6 positions, adding 100K a month from US sales. Same applies to Germany, but the market is even bigger. You can see the market is twice bigger than the UK one. And the top guys selling here, they're like twice as pricey as Bronson in US. Obviously, you have to look at the tablets, at the ingredients, but we've gone through that. We've gone through that for multiple times, and you can adjust your product. And usually, Germany is much more expensive to the end customer than US or UK, for example. And in Germany, in I would say supplement niches, cosmetic niches, you can get extra margins for your brand equity. So you can see top one guy sells here for 1.3 million. Being fairly, like modest, fairly humble, you can assume that Bronson can make 150K a month in Germany. And if we take only these two countries, they can add 30% of their revenues. I mean, like, as I said, for supplements, it's pretty complicated to get into the market, to go through all the tests. But if you do that, that's a growth for your brand next year, 30%. Like, it's a no-brainer. And let's discuss what actually stops you to expand into the new market. So there are multiple points on that. First one, like obviously you need cash to expand into a new market. And I'll slightly transition on how we can help you in that sense, because we also expand sellers into Europe. So what we do, we approach successful sellers in Amazon we purchase inventory from them. It works two ways. We can do wholesale pricing, we can do profit sharing when we purchase your products at manufacturer pricing. But the thing is, you don't spend a single dollar expanding into Europe. We'll purchase your inventory, ship it into Europe, we'll do any compliance needed for you. And even when we're speaking about supplements, we'll go through the hell of a task we need to do to get your product into Europe. So when we're speaking about expansion, you have to spend cash to get into Europe. You have to hire more people because it takes more expertise, legal consultants, people who will manage additional markets. Also, it needs for you to understand the market because Europe is not that straightforward. There are different languages, different customer behavior patterns, and you need to learn from that. You need to translate all the content and do all of that stuff. And obviously, like you have other priorities. If you're a brand in the US, your main goal is to grow the US presence and grow the market in there. Launch new products, get on TikTok Shop, get more and more sales in your native market. So what we do, we cover you in all of that parts. We purchase inventory and we do marketing for you. We do PPC, we spend our money. We earn when we sell a product. You don't pay anything upfront. So we have the team in-house that will do PPC, that will do logistics, that will do legal stuff. We're importer of records, so you don't have to spend anything on VAT. And we successfully expanded more than 3,000 SKUs of ours into Europe. And we build your European market while you focus on your primary market, meaning like you're not distracted. We just, like as your partner, build a market share in Europe and you work on your things. So there are actually like two ways as you got. Hard way, how to enter a market. You have to learn it, invest in it, navigate compliance, figure out supply chain, invest in marketing. And easy way, you can do it with us. So guys, we can get you into Europe in 4 months. Then we're talking about low complexity level products that don't have to have a bunch of regulatory and certificates. And you don't do any investments at all. Like we cover everything from A to Z, no upfront costs. And as said, guys, would be happy to be your ultimate key to reaching a 30% growth next year. And would be happy to consult with you, like to give you a free call if you need that. I spoke with multiple brand owners. I spoke with top 1 Amazon 3P sellers in Amazon who are doing more than 1 billion sales a month, and happy to share any secrets to unlock your growth, how to work in the US, how to work with different platforms, how to expand to Europe. Even though you are not interested in expanding, we can always have a chat and I can share some insights. Thank you, guys. That was it for my part. Hope
Awesome.
it was helpful.
Awesome, very good. Yeah, that's another big conversation I always think is, profit is expanding, to other marketplaces. And, we've chatted before, the no upfront cost in the expansion. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. So awesome. Thank you.
Mark. Thank
So
you.
Michelle, I think Michelle, you're up.
Awesome. All right, let's do this. Hey guys, so we're talking about TikTok Shop today. Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, TikTok is the sexy new platform of 2024. It launched officially September of 2023 and quickly became just a beast. And there's a lot of people who have jumped on the platform and seen massive success. And there's some people who have gotten started and have kind of fumbled around a bit trying to find their way. And here is something that I see often in sellers being a big difference between those who succeed and those who don't. So here's an example of one of those sellers. This graph only represents a small portion of how long they had been on the platform. They've been on the platform probably since April, trying different things, kind of screwing around a little bit. And so my question to you is, what is the most interesting part of this graph? It's this moment, right? What's the difference between what they were doing before and what they did after that bump? So like I said, this seller like appeared to be doing all the right things on TikTok. He had very TikTokable products. That's a different presentation for a different time. He was reaching out to thousands of creators weekly, he gave out over 200 plus samples, but nothing was really working. So what was missing in the equation? And that is optimized offers. And you guys, especially as Amazon sellers, you should really understand this, because everything with most of the things that you have control over on Amazon come down to your listing. And you would not drive traffic to an unoptimized offer, right? An unoptimized listing. You wouldn't have every keyword stuffed in there, all of your images A/B tested, A+ content, reviews, all of those things in place, right? So the same thing is true for TikTok. And in addition to doing kind of those core listing behaviors, it also comes down to your offer directly. So what drives those 15-second conversions on TikTok? This is a GIF that I captured myself of going from discovery to checkout on TikTok. And I timed it. And from seeing the video to purchasing the product was 15 seconds end to end. And then I was back to scrolling, back to the entertainment of TikTok Shop. So how do you as sellers accomplish that? So it comes down to kind of the three keys of conversion. And the first is free shipping. So often sellers miss this. They just get their listings up and they forget that Amazon has trained consumers to expect free shipping. In fact, 62% of shoppers are unwilling to buy without it. So we can see in this example on the right-hand side, all of these listings, and we can see that free shipping is a badge on there that really helps to stand out. And on TikTok Shop, free shipping increases conversion rates by over 16%, and it enhances your product visibility and your sales. In addition to free shipping, our product discounts and flash deals, specifically flash deals. Product discounts in general are what are kind of akin to the strike through. So you can see a strike through going on right here, but that strike through is also in place because of the flash sale. So product discounts and flash deals are basically the same thing, except flash deals are time-based. And I love flash deals because it has these mechanisms. It creates scarcity, it motivates action, and it enhances your visibility. You can see here that we have countdown timers. When this is actually like on the day of, it's minute by minute, it's counting down second by second. So anybody that's hitting those flash deals is feeling kind of the motivation, like, oh my goodness, this deal is running out, I need to take action, that kind of a thing. It also, as you can see here, this is just search results in the shop tab. If I'm searching for fishing line, we can see that flash deals help deals to stand out, help listings to stand out. So these are just regular listings, and these are listings on flash sales. So you can see how those flash sales also help with that enhanced visibility there as well. And then coupons and promo codes. So coupons themselves, they help to increase your total order value. They offer bigger discounts by layering with promotions. And like Amazon, coupons must be claimed to be used. So in the case of product discounts and flash deals, that becomes the new retail price for the product and is automatically applied. But with coupons and promo codes, it requires action on the part of the buyer. So coupons absolutely show up in search results as well and increase that visibility. But to get that deal, the coupon actually, the customer actually has to take action. And just like we see on Amazon, sometimes they forget to. So it's the benefit, you get the benefit of the coupon conversion, sometimes without the cost. Now, I'm not saying that we like lean into that, and I can't guarantee any level of that going on, but it definitely helps that to be the case. So when we combine all three for the ultimate conversion potential, we have the free shipping that shows up, the flash deal that's on the listing, as well as the coupon or the promo code. That's when we've hit that kind of trifecta for conversion. And for all of my customers and all my students and all my clients, this is what I recommend every single time. When they're having trouble with sales, the first step is not to look at their affiliate outreach. The first step that we do from a diagnostic standpoint is to look at their listings and to identify what are you doing to motivate the sale, because TikTok is a discovery platform. It's emotional. Somebody is scrolling, they are looking, and you are interrupting them with like an affiliate talking about your product or an ad that's running. And if you pique their interest enough to click through to your product detail page, what is going to satisfy that need for them to know that this is the right path for them? Free shipping, number one. Flash deals with that kind of scarcity, and coupons to let them know that on top of everything else, there's yet another deal for them to take advantage of. So usually when I reach that point with clients, then the question is, but what about my profits? How do I, well, I'm just giving it all away. Which, like, if we're honest with ourselves, we're doing most of these things on Amazon too, right? You have free shipping built in, you have coupons, clickable coupons that you're running, you're offering strike through, those things are true on Amazon as well. But my answer to that question is to build the profit in from the beginning, to calculate your pricing, your retail price based on those factors in the first place. So when you're computing your retail price, include these 3 keys to conversion in your pricing plan. So you have your TikTok shop fee, you have your cost of shipping, your product discount or flash deal, your coupon, your affiliate commissions, your advertising costs. And remember that retail pricing is fluid. If your retail value needs to be higher so you can run better deals, do it. And no, Amazon can't see or track your price to see if it's lower on TikTok Shop. So I advise y'all to like screenshot this page, because this is like your profitability matrix for price planning on TikTok. And this makes such a huge difference so that you go in with confidence knowing how much you are actually making on TikTok and TikTok Shop. And you're not just playing is this profitable at all game. You're building it in up front. It's that profit first mentality. Okay. So if you're not convinced it'll work for you, I'm just going to shoot through these really quick. These are all different categories of sellers who are just crushing it. Camping, children's toys, fashion and accessories, food and beverage, ball sports, sports and outdoors. There's so much money to be made. And these graphs aren't even updated. I haven't even included Q4 in a lot of these results. TikTok is crushing it. But if you're not sure where to get started, I got you. TikTok can sometimes feel like a slot machine, but we have a proven 5-step process for getting results on TikTok. And I'm giving away the first part of our training for free. So if you're interested in that, you can scan that code and you can get 50% off my full course by using the promo code TTSS at checkout if you're interested in getting that as well.
Awesome, Michelle. I love it. I love the idea of built-in profit.
Absolutely. Like, I hate that question. Like, are we making money on TikTok? And I'm like, build it in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
and the biggest mistake I see Amazon sellers make, especially, is that they bring over their Amazon pricing to TikTok. And I'm like, it's totally different. It's totally different models. So it's important to understand what the fee structures are on TikTok so that you can build that profitability in from the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the takeaway for probably all the platforms is, build on your profit. Be profit centric, and if you aren't going to make the profit that you want, then don't do it. But
yeah,
but
right.
So yeah, awesome. I love it. So all right, awesome. So next we have Amiri.
Yep. Hey guys. All right. So I'm gonna be talking a bit differently about logistics today and about trends that we're seeing that we're focusing for 2025. And the biggest of them all is actually a fundamental shift that the logistics landscape is experiencing because it's shifting from a reactive approach to predictive operations. Now, any of you who's been shipping goods all over the globe have probably known the feeling that you're always needing to chase for information and you don't always know where your goods actually are. So This is something that the field has been struggling for quite a long time, and we're actually seeing this change using technology and you know AI, which is affecting all of our lives, and obviously it's not skipping the logistics field. Um, so I want to talk about how to be a winner when it comes to logistics and operations, rather than a loser. So the thing is to embrace flexible and data-driven solutions that the field has to offer. Uh, and companies and new softwares and new applications are blooming, and it might get confusing, and there's a lot of new stuff and a lot of new offerings at the market. Um, but the thing is that to be on the lookout and to make sure that you're implementing partners and freight forwarders or logistics providers that are talking the modern language and not falling behind. Because we're seeing that most of the money lost when it comes to logistics is money lost due to human error. And as far as we see the future of logistics, it's not about replacing humans with technology, but actually creating a human in the loop system where automation actually enhances the human capabilities rather than replaces them. So don't give up on the human in the loop. But make sure that you're partnering up with companies that embrace technology and embrace the future, actually. So real-time visibility, which is becoming a standard, is something that you have to make sure that your providers are providing. Analytics, which are becoming far easier to provide because of AI, is also something that you gotta make sure that you're getting from your logistics providers. Also, another important thing is integration of multiple data sources, which is something that is becoming the standard, because nowadays you can get data about containers and packages and truckers and combine them all together to provide an actual picture of where your goods are located, rather than needing to chase for information from your suppliers by email or by phone. um, so that's a bit about that on my end. Now, another thing you need to be on the lookout for is partners that know to adapt quickly to market changes, be it regulation changes such as the tariff changes. For example, we've seen just a couple of weeks ago the Mexican government decided overnight to increase the tariffs for clothes and textiles of up to 35% for imports, because over 100 Shopify stores have been selling goods to the US from Mexico to skip the tariffs in the US. And then the Mexican government decided to benefit from it as well, because it's been impacting the industry in Mexico. So you need to make sure that you're working with people who know how to adapt and provide alternative solutions quickly. Otherwise, you'll be losing money pretty quick. Another thing is to adapt to Amazon policy enforcements and policy changes, such as the distribution centers, the fulfillment centers that are now being split to multiple warehouses, instead of just a single fulfillment center. It's a bit hard to predict which option is going to be cheaper and more convenient. But you need to make sure that you're being presented with real data, so you can make decisions based on actual numbers and not just a hunch. That's it on my end. And let me know if you have any questions, and you can email me at all times, and I'll be happy to answer and help out on anything needed.
Awesome, and Mary, that was great. I think I've chatted with you guys before as well. As we enter this new kind of phase of e-commerce, where we're making decisions on profitability and what best way to ship our products and where we should ship our products, and understanding how quickly things can change. Such as the example of Mexico. It's devastating to your profitability if you aren't aware of these changes, and you get caught all of a sudden and you have a bad month because you weren't aware. And I think as we get a lot more savvy in selling, and we have access to reliable contacts and partners, we can make better decisions and we can make our businesses grow profitably. So awesome. I think all the information and all the information learned today can, if implemented, again, that's the question, is it's all very well listening to this stuff, joining and listening, but it's a matter of implementing. And each one of the guys here have things that we can do for you that you don't actually have to do for yourself. We got Klim chatted about getting on a call, and they will walk you through it. Michelle as well, built-in profit. Fabricio, you can book a call, book a demo, get an audit. And freight forwarders, generally the awesome thing about freight forwarders is you give the information and they take it and they do it for you. And that's the same with SellerView. We can help you grow your business, understand your costs so that you can make better, profitable decisions. So I think we're going to have some Q&A here. So if anyone has a question, pop it in the chat. I have a couple already that I'll just fire off. So this one's for Fabricio. What's the best way to balance the risk between stock out and overstock?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, as I said in my presentation, I think understanding that you have two levers is not only inventory. So whenever you're going to order, instead of adding more inventory because you're afraid of running out of stock, you should order the just right inventory and play with the sales lever if sales pick up. So in the end of the day, it's all about margin. Top line sales mean absolutely nothing. The margin is what means something. So if you understand that you have two levers, the inventory and the sales lever, you can deal with that.
Yeah, awesome. So this one's Michelle. Probably top of mind of a lot of people is what's the future of TikTok in the US?
Yeah, right. Just a little political situation that we're in right now, right? So if anybody's not aware, earlier in April of 2024, the US legislature passed a law about apps not being allowed to be owned by foreign adversaries. And basically calling out China and saying, like, we don't like you, and we don't like that you have so much visibility into our population's data, as well as so much ability to manipulate our population, right? So that's really kind of what the law was coming down to, and saying and making those claims, and basically saying, like, either divest, sell to US entity, or get banned on January 19th. So since then, a US Court of Appeal, like TikTok filed an appeal to the US Court of Appeals in December, and that appeal had failed, and then TikTok has appealed to the US Supreme Court, which this US Supreme Court is making a decision in 2 days about whether the I guess law is constitutional or not. TikTok claiming that it's a First Amendment freedom of speech violation, and the U.S. Department of Justice saying, no, it's not, and we have a right to protect our citizens. So, meanwhile, obviously, Trump was elected president. Trump was on TikTok and made all sorts of promises about saving TikTok when he was on the campaign trail. And so, the ban essentially starts January 19th. Trump is inaugurated into office on January 20th. There's all sorts of politics going on here.
Yeah.
So, bottom line, my opinion is that saving TikTok will make Trump look really good. And so Trump will do what makes Trump look really good. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
There's too
also
much money. There's too much money.
much money.
It just this last year, TikTok was responsible for $50 billion in GDP to the US economy. So it's not just an entertainment platform anymore. It's not just a social media, place for people to like doom scroll and lose their minds. It's generating a massive amount of income, both for creators and for sellers. And the majority of those are small and medium-sized businesses. These are not huge brands that are just raking in the cash on TikTok. These are small and medium brands, and especially on the creator side, it's just regular Americans. It's not huge celebrities. It's everyday people who are supplementing the income of their families, and that looks really bad politically to take that income away. So I'm sure Trump will work his magic and make TikTok safe and secure again.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I hope so. Um, so this one's for Amiri. So 2025 historically, the ups and downs with shipping and freight. So what are the emerging logistic trends do you anticipate will have the biggest impact in 2025, and how can companies prepare for that? Mary on mute.
Okay, sorry. So the major trends that we're seeing is first and foremost data and actually being reactive, being predictive and not reactive, as I've described before. Now, AI is one of the hottest topics. Is probably the hottest topics when it comes to logistics as well, and there are a lot of companies and services evolving over that. Um, so it's becoming it's getting into everything and everywhere. And again, real-time visibility is becoming a standard. And another major trend is sustainability requirement. Uh, um, a lot of governments are requiring sustainability standards for companies, from trucking companies to shipping carriers and airlines. And a lot of consumers are becoming more and more aware and more demanding of sustainability standards. So a lot of freight providers and logistics providers are also becoming aware and providing information about CO2 emissions and offsetting CO2 emissions. So this is also something to be on the lookout for. In terms of preparation, so first of all, it's important to audit your systems when it comes to logistics and make sure that you're geared up and are using the most systems that are not on par with the market, and that you are having partners that offer the real-time visibility and data analytics and tools to help you manage your supply chain with the capabilities that are now being offered in the market. And make sure that you also develop relationships with multiple service providers, so you can build redundancy to everything that's happening in the market.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you. So back to back to you, Fabricio. This I love this question. Why is your system better than my Excel spreadsheet?
I don't know the Excel spreadsheet of the person directly, but we usually say that our biggest competitor is Excel spreadsheets. For some
Uh-huh.
reason, people love managing inventory in Excel spreadsheets. Excel spreadsheets are great up to the point where you start having complexity. So if you have
Yeah.
more products or different suppliers, lead times, or if you start having a 3PL aside of your Amazon FBA or multi-channel or expanding internationally, everything that you add in terms of sales adds a huge complexity in terms of inventory. So it gets to a point where you have to make a bunch of simplifications if you still use Excel spreadsheets. And those simplifications will not only make you not have the visibility that you need for decision making, but also harm your success in the long term. As I said, margins are made at the purchase of the product. Margins are not made at the sale.
Yeah.
That's like the number one
Fundamental.
lesson that people should understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Spreadsheets, I feel like can actually, are amazing. And I always tell my clients is they weren't built for inventory management. Spreadsheets were built for something else. They have somehow
Yeah.
morphed into like, let's use a Google spreadsheet to calculate a bunch of things that I was never designed to do. Um,
Yep.
and I think at some point there's a critical point in your business where the amount of time spent on a spreadsheet is detrimental in you could be doing other better things to improve or to drive revenue, to drive sales, and dealing with a spreadsheet at the end of the day is not why you got in this business.
Yeah, especially now with AI, right? With AI, it's going to be very hard for you to compare spreadsheets with systems like Fleaver that uses AI in a bunch of things in the back end. You cannot
Yeah,
do that with spreadsheets. It was not made for handling large amounts of data. So, yeah.
yeah, I agree. Michelle, this one's back to you. What should sellers do if they wanted to maximize their opportunity on the TikTok shop?
Well, the first thing, just like Fabricio was talking about, like starting with the first things first is making sure that your products are right for TikTok. So just because you can sell it on other marketplaces doesn't mean that you can sell it on TikTok. There has to be something special, interesting about your products. And I call it kind of like the five, well, I have all these things, but the 5 keys to TikTok ability are first demonstrability. So number one, the demonstrability means that it can very quickly be demonstrated and you can capture somebody's attention with that product. At this point, like if somebody sends me their product, like I can tell you in 5 seconds, 1 second, if it's TikTokable or not. Yes, no, like that kind of a thing. However, even if there's not something highly demonstratable about it, kind of the next key is if it is solving some sort of problem, that there's a before and after effect in your life before using the product and after using the product. So I was talking to a gentleman who sells hangers on Amazon, and typically hangers are not going to be overly interesting, but his had kind of like that velvet lining, and then it had some stacking and all sorts of things. And so very quickly he was able to demonstrate like, okay, your clothes are falling off the hanger and your clothes are staying on the hanger. Like there's a problem, there's a solution. There's all sorts of fun videos that you can watch about, kind of showing these examples as well. The third thing is price point. So luxury items don't typically sell really well on the platform. There's kind of that impulse buying nature that we need to lean into. So products that are priced between $20 and $50 really do perform best on the platform. And then there's 2 more that, because the slides are not in front of me right at the second, that I can't remember, but I do have that in the free validation training that I linked to earlier, so you guys can check that and watch that for the other 2 trainings as well.
Okay, awesome. So, and Klim, this one's kind of a question, is when picking marketplaces in Europe, and you guys do your due diligence, are there countries that kind of stand out above others, or what's the best way I mean, is that something that you
Yeah.
guys just do? Like you handle
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, like we handle that, but when we speak of expanding yourselves, the easiest way is to try UK. It's the biggest market, one of the biggest market. We're very comparable to Germany, money-wise. So UK is very big, doing around 40 billion a year. Germany is also very big, doing around 40 billion a year. But UK, it's easier to enter. You don't have to translate content that much. You just have to work on PPC, adjust it slightly,
Yeah.
and that's it. So definitely, like if it's your first experience to expand, it's from European countries, it's better to choose UK. If we're
Yeah.
speaking North America, better to choose Canada and try your playbook there.
Gotcha. And then in terms of, I know like probably the question on people's minds is, all right, this, sounds great. I'm going to go to the UK. And then you chat to another seller and you're concerned about the VAT and the compliance and all that issue. Is that all the things that you handle? You handle all
Yes,
that stuff?
yes, we handle all of that stuff. We're importer of a record. If you're entering UK on your own, you're better to have a European or UK legal entity,
Yeah.
just because it's very hard to receive VAT number on the US one. It will be like a hell of a nightmare to go through.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Af Yeah,
So you're the company on record. So I mean, that's
yeah,
almost like a it's almost like a no-brainer for you guys, right?
yeah,
I'm selling a great product in the US, and 2025 is the year of more profit. I'm going to call Kilm and go, listen, I want you to sell this product in the UK, and you're going to take care of that.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's great. So then, in terms of, from my side as, helping sellers understand their costs on factory costs and inbound costs, shipping and customs and duties and all that kind of stuff. Do you find that your sellers, or obviously they probably would, so if they're ordering from, say from China, it goes from China to the UK?
Yeah, we usually pick it up directly from where manufacturing facility. We just come there, like our forwarders take it and ship it directly into China.
Gotcha.
Sometimes when we work with beauty brands or supplement brands, they're usually like US native, so they manufacture in US, but we also do that in US. We can come to Texas, we can come to California, pick up the goods and ship them into Europe.
Okay, so you pick up the goods anyway. So if,
Yeah, anywhere,
so if I
anywhere.
have a surplus in the US, call you, sell them in the UK.
Yeah,
Great. Guys, if you are 25, we are the 8th of January and you have extra stock that you didn't use Fleber and you want to sell that extra stock that aren't incurring fees, I suggest you call Kiln and get your products over to Europe because he's going to handle all of that. I love it. Okay, so um, next for Fabricio, this one. What's the best time to start planning inventory for peak?
Oh, that's a great question. Everybody thinks that it's only when you're replenishing for peak, and that's a big mistake. So it's crazy that our peak season of Fever it's June and July because that's when people are planning the peak season, and everybody joins Fever during that time. It's our Super Bowl, and it's a big mistake. The most successful customers that we have, they join in the beginning of the year. They start planning peak season. They ramp up, plan peak season with a lot of care instead of doing everything, at the last minute as we usually do with everything. So I think start as soon as possible. It's never a bad time.
Okay, awesome. Um, and then Michelle, how can sellers build their brands with social?
Yeah, so social commerce is really the future of all commerce, truly. TikTok Shop has proven that business model. It's not just e-commerce anymore. It is social commerce is really the future of e-commerce because we've always known that that social media had an influence on buying, right? Like there's never any question that you see something on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or X or TikTok, right? Especially on TikTok, and you want to go and buy it. So TikTok really has taken the reins to combine the social experience with that buying experience, that marketplace. And whether TikTok is around for the long term, doesn't matter. This is now the future of shopping. So you will see more of these types of experiences. And so what most Amazon sellers haven't done in the past is take their social media marketing seriously. I was talking to a seller yesterday who's like, "Hey, we just have content on Instagram just to make us look like a brand, but we aren't really like leaning into it, maximizing it, pushing it. And it really has to be something that you take seriously rolling forward because that's going to make the difference between your brand really growing or getting eaten up by the race to the bottom from a price perspective."
Yeah, awesome. And then we did have a question, another one from Timo, but I think we've answered this about the future of sales in America. I think the final decision, well, not decision, but there's a judgment happening on the 19th of January. Trump gets in on 2020, hoping that that's all going to be fine. So we've got a couple more weeks here, but I would be optimistic and check out Michelle's website, and I would move forward as business as usual because I seriously doubt that there is going to be a
Right.
ban of TikTok.
There's no startup fees in starting your TikTok
Yeah,
journey.
there's
So
no
like,
barrier to entry.
right,
So
for sure.
yeah.
So, yep, absolutely.
So
Just
yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here. I think we're there's all some amazing points here. I would recommend rewatching it and going through each of the presentation. And don't get the overwhelm of, where do I start? And then don't start. I would say, pick something that resonates with you, put it on your task list, and just move through it as you're moving through 2025. And start really thinking about how can you grow profitably, drive your sales, but don't just focus on the sales, focus on the things that will improve your bottom line as well. So I really appreciate everyone attending. I really appreciate all the presenters here. There's some really cool information that I didn't even know, and I'm always love and enjoying, learning new things. So I really appreciate everyone. Have a great day, and look forward to chatting you guys soon.
Thank you. See you guys. Pleasure.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye bye, guys.
bye.